Hi, let me chat to you about Rzrbld Trs, a 2021 mystery crime novel by S.A. Cosby. It starts with a gay couple being murdered, and their homophobic fathers, uh, one black, one white, Ike Ike Randolph Riot, who's been out of prison for about 15 years and has struggled to sort of set himself onto a different path. Is now a fairly successful landscape owner of a landscaping business, and Buddy Lee, who also out of prison, white, who is living in a ramshackle trailer, is an alcoholic falling down. But into this comes tragedy. Their two gay sons, who were a couple, are murdered violently, and they both fathers were very homophobic, cut their sons out of their lives, even though their sons, far. Isaiah Ike's son had become a successful journalist, while Derek, Buddy Lee's son, was a pastry chef. So two people who had actually kind of managed to overcome probably the a lot of the problems that their fathers faced, but were brutally cut down. And this is it's kind of a revenge novel, in the sense of the police are not able to find out why they were murdered. The case goes cold. They're the headstone where the two sons were buried together gets vandalized with homophobic and racist slurs put all over it, which pulls these two into a bloody, determined thing to get vengeance. This isn't, and I think if someone asks Ike, who is the kind of the main viewpoint character, we also get Buddy Lee's point of POV throughout the thing, but he is the one who we're primarily centered on, and his bitter regrets of not actually having reconciled with his son and kind of gotten over his homophobia before his son was killed, um, is it's not a thing of, like, righteous justice that they're going for. He is very open. This is hate. This is hate. I just want to murder the people that did this to my son. I want to murder them all. Um, it is definitely a book that kind of looks at homophobia, specifically, I guess, in a southern black community context of there's a scene in a barber shop, which is, even from me, from white Canadian outsider, it's like, oh, okay, this is kind of one of these local nexuses of, this is where especially maybe black men would get together and talk. And you get that you get that the thing of black male masculinity, and how that particularly has maybe the idea of having a gay son really seems to push buttons with the men in this community, that this is viewed as something that is going to they're trying to feminize black men, to disempower them. So there is a horribly vicious, toxic blend of race and sexuality going on here in the book, which it's like, I think that's the best thing that a genre book can do. Is 99% of people are not going to pick up a book on race and sexuality in Southern America amongst black people. But hey, how many people are going to pick up a genre book, which is a mystery crime thriller with lots of kick-ass scenes of violence? It's like that is something that can actually kind of reach a heck of a lot more people, and that people are a lot more liable to kind of engage in a conversation that way. So I would definitely give this book really a lot of credit for that. It is one of these things that it is a really, really violent book. And I I wonder how much, and I'm not going to get into author intentionality. I was just about to, obviously, but it's one of these things of how much is the depictions of violence is also a way of saying violence is exciting, and hey, it's a genre book, and you kind of you want that in a book, but S.A. Crosby. I mean, maybe it's because I don't read as many mystery kind of crime, hard bitten kind of crime novels that I'm sensitive. But it was like, wow, this is really frontal. This is really kind of emphasizing how brutal, how bloody, how the suffering that our two heroes, our two anti-heroes perpetrate throughout this book, and the amount of collateral that they leave of people who weren't violent um, going on, and by the end of the book, you sort of have that twisted feeling of like how much of this was an endorsement of violence, and how much of this was another kind of quiet way of going, hyper masculinity, hyper violence, and how toxic that is. But maybe it's the whole thing of here's a book that is actually kind of is making making an argument for against homophobia, against LGBTQ plus violence, but it's married with a book that has super masculine, violent heroes at the center of it, and how well that marries, how well that sits together. I'm not going to go into the end of the book, but it does, it doesn't end well for everyone. So I know I think that S.A. Crosby is kind of is maybe getting at a little bit of that kind of in a more subtle way of someone who might be like super attracted to super violent books. It's like, well, this is also this doesn't sit well. This doesn't sit well. So maybe that sense of unease at the end of this book is a positive thing. I really wasn't sure where I sat, because it was like, this feels wrong, and I was like, maybe it's supposed to feel wrong. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm supposed to just unapologetically go. It's like the Liam Neeson. I'm gonna go. You took my daughter, so it gives me carte blanche to go across Europe and on a murder spree. This is one where they killed their sons, and I mean, that might be the other criticism of a book is like, oftentimes in books it's like, oh, the only way the old timey thing of the only way you could be gay in popular fiction was that you ended up dead or something by the end of the book. This one, they are dead at the beginning, and they, unfortunately, their deaths are the impetus for the growth of two straight homophobic old dudes. So I can see people having issues with that. I mean, I guess you have to kind of take that kind of thing at the beginning to be able to get into a discussion of going like, okay, you've cut your children out of your life completely. What if they were dead? What if they somehow died immediately? How much regrets would you have? How much would you want to bring them back, that you could, so that you could you could love them, that you could accept them for who they are. It's that sort of thing. So interesting. This is like that. This is the kind of the genre book that I really like, that kind of taps into that stuff while at the same time being a really well paced, really fun book. The interplay between Ike and Buddy Lee is really good, and a white Southerner who thinks that they've had a hard time of it talking to a black man who's had to scrape and work to claw back a life after really falling down and really becoming a horrible person himself. His riot persona was someone you would never ever want to be on the wrong side of. Really frightening, and becoming an actual person again. Well, not an actual person again, but being someone who is someone you can see. And I mean, at the end of this book, a police officer says to him, like, I'm going to keep watching you. Near the end of the book, he says, I'm going to keep watching you because, yeah, you did this This time it was a quote righteous reason, but like next time is it someone's going to flip you off and you're going to murder them. It's like there is that awareness by the author that like, oh, I've set everything up so that you can root for this person in this situation. That isn't to say that the next day, yeah, someone's going to, cut them off in traffic and they're going to murder somebody else in a way that would just completely horrify you. What makes violence right is a question that I think does get raised in this book, which probably boosts it up. I might be just talking myself into it. I don't know. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Rzrbld Trs by S.A. Cosby. More videos later.